Hey, it's Mayo. This is possibly the last video talking about energy shields. We had number 1, how to create an energy shield, which focused on how to create a personal energy shield for yourself. The second video talked about how to create an energy shield for others and how to shield a space. And today I am just here to tell you what I have done personally over the years. The first 2 videos, I did not share what I do personally. I didn't talk about details of what my shields are made of because I purposely wanted people to form their own opinion about what kind of energy shields are good for them. I want you to use your own imagination. So if you haven't formed your own energy shield yet, go back to the beginning. Start over, watch these in order because there is a reason I did it this way. But if you've already watched the first 2 and you're just interested to hear about what I do, compare some notes, or maybe you're just curious, then stick around. My personal energy shields are an invisible force field. I did play around with different types of energy and making shields out of different things. An invisible force field is what works best for me. Think about Violet from The Incredibles. Think about Glinda the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz. That's basically what my energy shields look like. My energy shield is an invisible bubble that's slightly iridescent because I like color and I like a little bit of rainbow and sparkle. But it's still totally clear, does not obstruct energies that I feel, does not obstruct anything because it's light and easy, but it's indestructible. Very strong, very effective. Initially, I used to only have an energy shield when I would leave the house. It was something that I did walking out the front door, basically, and I only did it if I was going to public places or was going to be around a lot of people. I did not shield around family. I did not shield around close friends. If I trusted people, I didn't shield around them. It was literally just something that I would do leaving the house to go be around public places. Quickly though, I realized that shielding myself at night was needed. Having an energy shield intact when it was time for me to sleep was really good for my health, and it was really good for my sleep. I was no longer being bothered by unwanted spirits or going through tons of dreams that I did not want to have. That protective barrier was needed for me to get restful sleep and restore myself. Then, I would say around 18 or 19, my vibration raised a lot, and I had to start shielding myself 24/7. Things really changed. It wasn't an instantaneous change. It really was a gradual thing that maybe happened over a year, and I had to keep playing around with energy shields. In short, I discovered that if I was not shielding myself around people, if I was letting them feel my full vibration, I made everyone get migraines, dizziness, high altitude type symptoms, but migraines were the biggest one, or they would just feel very fuzzy and confused, like couldn't think. And also there were some people that just felt like high as a kite around me. It was a very strange year. So I discovered that I needed to bubble my energy, not because I couldn't handle being around them, but because other people can't handle me. So that was an interesting thing. So I shield myself 24/7 pretty much, and I've been doing this for quite a few years. I shield even around family, around close friends, everybody, all the time. Daytime, nighttime, all the time. I spend the majority of my life with my energy shield up. I only take it down if I am around animals, wildlife, nature, or sometimes my husband. He has very, very grounded energy. He's always been able to handle me with ease because he's just naturally like a rock. He's just able to handle my high vibration because he's rooted deep enough. I only shield around him if he indicates that he's feeling something or that is distracting him. I also let my energy shield stay down if it comes down on its own. At this point in my life, I am at a place where I can really trust my instincts and trust myself. And if my energy comes down on its own, then I trust that it's for a reason. If my energy does come down though, I then surround myself with spirits that I know and trust. For example, my energy shield comes down on its own when I'm on my period. This has been a consistent pattern forever. I am unable to shield myself on my period. And it was something that I really tried to fix and figure out for a long time, but I'm at a place now where I trust that it's for a reason, and I just surround myself with protective, loving spirits who have my best interest at heart, and I let it be. When my energy shield is down, when I am on my period, I don't work, I unplug, I spend a lot of time away from people, I focus on myself, I rest. I could talk way more in depth about that topic alone, of like why I don't work while I'm bleeding, why I don't work when I'm on my period. But that's something I've done throughout the entire time that I've had my business. Bleeding time is me time, and that's needed for my health. In terms of shielding other people or other animals, it's not something that I do super often because it usually doesn't feel needed. Most of the time that I've done it, I sent them love and protective energies. Anytime I have ever surrounded an animal or a person with energy, with a shield, I leave all of the control in their hands. I do not focus on it consciously all the time. I send it once and I leave it in their hands and I don't think about it anymore. In terms of shielding spaces, I began by shielding myself when I sleep. That grew to having to shield not just myself, but creating a second barrier to surround the room. It eventually grew to needing another third layer to surround the house. And then later we needed a fourth layer to surround the property. It's an onion. It's an onion of energy layers. The way that I surround spaces, if I'm at that place, right, I'm doing this at home, I picture another energy layer forming right outside of my personal bubble, and then I visualize it expanding to the size of the space. So if I'm doing this room, I would create a second layer, and then I would expand it to the size of the room. If I'm going to the size of the house, I expand it to the size of the house, to the property, etc., right? Once the shield gets to the size that I want it, I solidify it, I thicken it, I reinforce it, I place it there with my intentions that it will not move until I want it to move. And it stays set because intentions work. I don't have to like consciously, constantly focus on these things. I place it there solidly and then I don't have to think about it. During times in my past, I was really suffering a lot with night terrors and nightmares, and there was a lot of spirit activity happening in my life at nighttime. Most of my life, it's happened at night where unwanted things come my way. So I started getting in the habit of protecting myself most strongly at night. Like I said, this became necessary for my health and for having healthy sleep. An example though of what I used to do back, oh my gosh, I was like 15 when I started doing this. I didn't even know about energy shields, but I was like, it feels better if I visualize these things. I was struggling with night terrors. I did not have a personal bubble, but I figured out that if I focused on my room really intensely, covering every single centimeter, covering my space, floor, wall, ceiling, with this energy, it worked. I visualized my room like a steel vault, like a bank vault, or like a prison sometimes. My preference was using like a steel vault because a prison has some dicey vibes there, but sometimes that was necessary. I used to surround my room with like thick, dense energy, and I would just pile it on round and around and around and around. I'd be laying in bed trying to fall asleep and I'm like just caking it in steel, and I would picture every window, every door like a vault that I'm closing and locking into place, and only I can open it from the inside. I basically would seal myself into my room and nothing can get in. That was the intention. Absolutely nothing gets in, and only I can open it and break it. It sounds intense, it sounds extreme, but my dudes, it works. I still use that same technique if I'm ever really desperate to close myself off. It works. Steel vault or a concrete prison. During the day, I always open my curtains, open the windows, open the doors, and I let energy flow, I let the light in, and I let nature do the cleansing. It's not something that I actually have to do myself. I don't have to cleanse my space. I let nature do it. I welcome nature. So in terms of having a steel vault as your room at night, it is important to break that in the morning when you wake up, because if you leave a room in steel vault energy 24/7, oh my God, you're gonna really shift the energy of that space long term. It will be hard to not have that energy in that room. Our guest bedroom, I had to sleep in there for a couple years, and I really had to like steel vault it every night. And I used to leave it intact for a long time. That room has extremely different vibes. This room, I used to always break it whenever I would wake up. I would put it in place when I would fall asleep. I would break it when I wake up. I'd open the curtains, let nature in. This room has impeccable vibes. That room, it's great, but it's just a very different vibe. So if you want like light, airy energy, you have to break those dense protective barriers in the morning. In terms of shielding the house and shielding the property, that was not something I started doing initially. That started when my vibration raised a lot and I started attracting so much more stuff. Oh my God, it was crazy. And it wasn't only affecting me, because at that point I was aware of how to shield my personal bubble or shield a room. So I'd shield myself, I'd shield my room, and the rest of my family and anyone who wasn't in that room would get affected. It was gnarly. So I started shielding the house and I started shielding the property, and we basically have like a guest list of what spirits are allowed here or welcomed here. Anyone who's unwanted can't get in. If for some reason someone gets in, we can push them out easily. Animals and wildlife have total free will. People who cross here have total free will. You can be in the protective bubble if you want. If you want out of the protective bubble, free will's in your hands. You don't have to be protected. If you if you want like strange spirits to come up to you, by all means. The reason that we have more spiritual activity here is because of me. It is because my vibration raised. It is because I work with spiritual things a lot. I am a magnet. So I effectively protect the whole 7 acres, because that is what I found through a lot of trial and error works best for me and everyone who lives here. Energy shields have been a part of my daily life for so many years now. I was doing this stuff before I even really knew what energy shields were. It's something I found instinctively, and over time it was something that I got a little bit of instruction from the only living mentor that I have ever had. She gave me some really great pointers, which I'll share here, because why not? She was the one who kind of inspired me to play around more with what the energy shield should be made of. She told me she knows someone who their energy shield is a super suit that's right on their skin, but other people, that may be too tight, that may be too cramped. For me, that's way too tight. That's so cramped. She said a suit of armor is also one. She said she knows someone whose energy shield is made of like cotton candy or bubbles or clouds. There's like the sky's the limit. You can make it out of whatever you want. Instantly, when we first talked about it, the first thing that I thought of was like a little rainbow iridescent bubble. Like if you were to blow a bubble and look at it, it has kind of that iridescent glisten. She was the one who encouraged me to play around with what it's made of, the size, all that stuff, contracting or expanding it depending on the situation you're in. Really, the part that I think she helped me the most with is when I got to the point that I had to start shielding myself 24/7 because other people started getting like high altitude sickness around me. So it's a little tricky. This may not make sense to people, but if anyone can possibly relate, I will share this wisdom because it's really helped me so much. Okay, when my vibration raised a lot, I started to struggle with bubbling myself in because I need way more space. I'm more comfortable at the size of a room than I am bringing my energy here. This starts to make my neck tense if I leave it this close to my body. Side of the room, I'm cool. I actually prefer the size of a room, at least. And my animals totally are fine coexisting with me in my bubble. And if they show any kind of symptoms that they're not, then I put them in their own little bubble. Okay, the tip that's really was groundbreaking for me was she told me to bubble around people, okay? I'm not making myself smaller. I'm not boxing myself in. I'm flowing around them, respecting their personal space. I'm not creating their bubble. I'm not doing anything to their bubble. I'm just flowing around them. And when she told me that, I was actually pictured like, have you ever seen when they're testing cars to see how aerodynamic they are? They put them in the wind tunnel and you can see how the wind is moving around the car. That's the vibe. Or if you see how if there's a rock in a river, the water flows right around the rock. That's the vibe. I flow around people. That is how I function now. When I first started having to expand my bubble, when I was raising in vibration, my bubble needed to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it got to the point where I was like, I'm bumping into people. Like, this isn't working. And she was like, go around them. Stop boxing yourself in, just go around them. And it takes a lot more focus. It takes a lot more finesse than just focusing on a small bubble versus letting yourself flow out organically, not interrupting any living thing that you cross paths with. It's more work. It does take a little bit more skill, a little bit more time, a little bit more practice to get good at it. But that is what I need at this point. And maybe other people are in that situation too. Maybe someone will see this and that's like the advice they've been needing. Try it, see how it feels. I think I'm just gonna wrap up this video. I think that's plenty of information. Plenty of information for you guys. I hope you guys learned some cool things about energy shields in these 3 videos that I've done. And if you have any questions or things that you want me to continue to share about energy shields, just let me know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you want to come back for more. Check out my spiritual video playlist. Also check out my channel and all of my other playlists. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
Classic male.